What do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, again, it's like, I mean, the purpose of that is just, first of all, I mean, I wanted to do that with you because you have like well, a lot of experience. Second, obviously, it's like, I mean, the age range that you're in,
Hmm.
especially on the experience aspect of it. I mean, what benefit or value, you see, encourage people to like just give it a try. Uh,
Totally.
we are in the awakening age, meaning what? I mean, people are going to be more and more like aware. They're thinking for themselves and they're more in touch, basically. Like a lot of emotion has been triggered.
Yeah. No, I feel like I've definitely been experiencing that even in like my friend group, as I feel like everyone currently is going through some sort of transition.
Hmm.
And it's kind of like the two ways that I'm seeing people handle it is like, yeah, either people are like, I'm gonna figure this out and I'm gonna like work through this and it's like extremely beneficial for them, or they're kind of just like sat in their like
Exactly.
darkness in this way. And I think that I don't know, the thing that I was just thinking about is like I think that the one of the most beneficial parts about doing the writing and doing the work is that it's not it's about like understanding yourself so
Yep.
much. Like that is like baseline what it is like you get to know yourself through doing the writing, and while you're getting to know yourself you're learning about what your triggers are, you're learning about what are the things in the past that have affected you that are currently still affecting you, and you're figuring out like why you're having certain responses to things. Like one of the things that was always the most beneficial for me is like I have bad anxiety, and some days I would feel really anxious for no reason, or I thought it was for no reason. And instead of just being like, oh fuck, I'm anxious and I'm just gonna like be anxious and be upset about being anxious, I would start writing about it and write about whatever, the thing that happened the day before, something that happened a week before, and I would always be able to figure out like, oh fuck, I'm feeling anxious about this thing and I didn't even know that this was a thing
Hmm.
that could have triggered me. And so it became like I understood myself more, my emotions more, my anxiety, my depression, whatever. And because I was understanding it more and understanding myself more, I was able to pull myself out of it faster and faster, to the point now where it's like when I feel anxious, I may be feeling anxious for like hours instead of feeling anxious for like days. You know
Hmm.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And when it's happening, I'm not like, oh fuck, like here I go, like this just sucks. I'm kind of
Um,
just like, okay, this is a temporary thing, and I usually understand where it's coming from, and it comes and it goes, and it's not this thing that like is like a burden in my life
yeah.
anymore.
Or it has to be that way because I mean that's like a habit that everybody gets, and that's basically like exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, it's important to people to understand that emotion is going to be there. You're going to feel it,
Hmm?
but you don't have to stay stuck in it. If you want, okay, I feel a certain way, but you know what? There's something I can do to change that. Because okay, they think, like, all right, this is the way it is. I have no idea why,
Yeah,
but I mean, no. Instead of like, okay, there's a reason behind it.
totally.
Always.
And I feel like
Uh,
I hear that a lot with, especially not in regards to like depression as much, but definitely with anxiety. I feel like a common theme that I always hear from people is people being like anxiety just happens.
yeah,
And it's like,
that's
I
the way
didn't
it is.
do anything. I'm not in control of it. Like it
Exactly.
just happens, and like it's just this is my life. And like
Right.
fuck my
Yeah.
life. This is my life. And I used to feel that way. Like I literally used to do that. I used to be like, I'm anxious and I'm angry at the world because I'm anxious and I have to deal with this thing and I don't know how to get rid of it and blah blah blah. And the second I was like, you know what? Like I'm gonna take control of this and I'm going to like try to work through this as best as I can. I was like, oh fuck, I can figure this shit out.
Yeah.
And
Investigate them. And if people don't understand, there is a part. I mean, the part they play in it that they can do something about it.
or
And
even just their power over it. It's
yeah,
like
the power
I think
exactly
that
getting your
people
power back.
sometimes feel powerless over their
Yeah.
emotions and their triggers and the way that they react to things and what have you. And
Yeah.
so, and then they just, it becomes like this, for like this excuse almost to
Exactly.
be like, this is this thing that plagues my life. And like, therefore I'm just like, I can't do anything about it. And I'm like, no, bitch, you can do everything about it. But I think that that is like one like the two most important things when I was first starting to like do the work. It's like number one, I was like, oh damn, like I'm really understanding myself so much more than I used to. And because of that, I like just I had control. I didn't have control over my emotions, but I no longer felt that my emotions were controlling me.
Yeah, acceptance of what is.
Yeah, and also
Mhm.
I no longer ever get scared that I'm gonna get stuck in a feeling. Where like
Exactly.
whatever, when I was in high school, I was just like that was like depression for multiple years. And I finally got out of that through the work. And every time I would like feel depressed one day, I would get scared that like I was gonna get stuck in that forever. And I was like, fuck, I'm going back to like whatever 16-year-old Daisy where I'm just like unhappy all the time and I feel disgusting and whatever. And now I'm at the place where I have the ability to say like, or I have the belief and the knowledge like this is not permanent. These negative feelings are not permanent
Yeah.
because I know how to work through them now. And I've gone back and forth so many times that I don't have this fear of like my emotions controlling me anymore.
Right.
Because on the days where I feel bad, we've talked about this before, because I
Yeah.
remember like there's been days where I'm just like, I don't want to do anything and blah blah blah. And you've just said like just lay in bed all day then. But like don't get scared. Just lay in bed and allow your
Right.
body and your brain to like to rest. And so then I would just like lay in bed and like watch TV all day, but not have this overwhelming fear that I was going to get stuck in it. And
Mhm.
then the next day I would be completely fine. And also like I didn't judge myself anymore for
Exactly.
having to take those days.
And I mean, you have like a much better understanding of like mind over matter and the body being matter. So when
Totally.
you change your mind, obviously, and the thought process and feelings, and you let go of what you need to let go of, and then you start like working on appreciating yourself more. But everything else is going to be reflected out, and the body is the first thing that's going to be changing.
Like right now, whatever. Right now, like everyone has been asking me like what my workout routine is because I've like my body looks so different than it used to and feeling so healthy and so good and it didn't take no effort. It's like it's more like when I tell people that I literally do the most minimal workout every
Well,
day,
exactly. I mean,
but
it's
it's
like
like the
less
intention.
amount of effort. Yes.
It's the intention where I'm just like, you know
Yes.
what? Like, I'm going out of my way to like give myself the gift of working out every day. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, in like a week, my body was like, boom, 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 boom. Like,
Yeah.
I'm ripped, right? And everyone's like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, even like my best friend was like, Daisy, like, I'm worried about you. Like, are you eating? And I'm like, girl, like, I have not even lost weight. Just like my body is different. Like, it's just
Mhm.
changed in this
Yeah. But
way.
shape,
It's the
changing shape.
magic.
I mean, the effort I'm talking about is just more like it's not that. It's not without effort. It comes naturally smooth.
Totally. And like I was saying, like I'm not
No,
like
there's
I
no force,
stopped
no
binge
force, no
eating.
force. Exactly.
Like binge eating has literally been an issue that I have had since I was a child, and I never knew how to not do it. I could not control myself. I was eating until I was like puking in my mouth like every day, and I couldn't stop. I couldn't stop, and it was this thing. It was like and like I was just saying before, it's like having control over your emotions, whatever. I had that for a long time, but I did not have control over my eating habits. And I started just like doing a tiny little workout, like maybe for a half hour every morning. And I'm just doing a little ding, 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 little squats, whatever. So every day I'm putting in this little effort and it has changed my brain because I don't have
Well,
the desire to like
yeah.
punish myself with like food anymore, basically.
Mine or matter. It's always like when we start working on that also aspect of it. I mean, first of all, like I said, it's like it's not a body weight problem. It's like a body shape problem because
Totally.
we don't care about the. I mean, as you
Yeah, I
experiencing
literally
that
haven't
every
lost
time.
weight.
Exactly, the weight is the same,
Mm.
but your body is changing, and that you're more comfortable. Why? Because the body shape that you want. We don't care about how much weight is going to be on the scale.
No. But I remember when we started this thing, because I was always struggling with my weight and being
Yeah.
overweight, and I was always like 40 pounds overweight all through high school. And I remember the first thing that you told me to do, and it was so hard for me. And I literally couldn't understand how this could possibly be helping me, but then it did. Is you told me to like look in the mirror, and I
Mhm.
made two lists. I made a list of things that I disliked about my body, and then I made a list of things that I liked about my body. And my list started off, the negative things were like a whole page, and the
Yeah.
positive things was like three things. You were telling me to like really just try to be like expressing love to myself also in the mirror. So first I was like whatever doing these lists and then I was like really trying to like look at myself and like say I love you. until like I really felt it. And I remember that was a thing you told me to do. And I was
Yeah,
like,
good.
this bitch is crazy. How is this gonna help me? Like, I'm looking in the mirror, just like upset, writing all this shit down that I hate about myself. And somehow slowly, like the lists became more equal. Like, all of a sudden, my body was changing. And I didn't
Yeah.
change anything about myself, but my body was changing and I started losing weight, even though I was eating just bowls of pasta. But there was something, it was the mind over matter again.
Exactly. Go back to the same thing. We didn't force a diet. We didn't force oh now you have to like go and wake up like and go and exercise.
Mm.
Mind over matter is gonna be like the key to freedom if you want. With everything that you've been through yourself and your experience, knowing that oh my God, there's so much thing I can do to basically change me in a way that I want to change.
So much of it is also like going back into old memories and like understanding the way you felt when you were a kid when certain things happened, and understanding that like you are still feeling that way when you're older, and like things that triggered you. And it's
Well,
like
yeah,
we went through like so many old memories that I had of like whatever, being like rejected in the fifth grade, or like
yeah,
someone making fun of like my body hair when I was a child, and I had to like get back into those memories and like express those feelings and be like,
mhm.
fuck, like I was so sad, or I was so angry, or like I'm so pissed that this happened to me, whatever. So not running from bad memories, but expressing them, writing it all down, expressing how I felt. And then the reframing part is always really important, is to say, so it's like I would write about an old memory, express all of my negative emotions about it, but then immediately after I would say, and this is how I want to feel. And that shit was really important. Like, I think that people, they say like, oh, like I need to ignore this emotion because I don't want to
Yeah,
attract more of it into my life. Like, I can't talk
exactly.
about this because if I talk about it, then I'm manifesting more negative
Manifesting it.
energy. And I think that that's like a really common
Mhm.
misconception that people have
Yeah,
about that type of stuff, where it's like, no, bro, like you need to like sweep the floor. You need to get
exactly.
rid of the negativity and then focus on positives that came out of it, the way that you want to feel instead of it. But you always need to express the shit, or else it's just sitting inside of you and
Exactly.
attracting more of that.
Then
Yeah.
you got the fear. Oh my God, I can't feel that because if I feel that, then it's going to be manifesting
And
work. All right, the feeling has been triggered. I mean, your responsibility is what you're going to do with it. And then
totally,
obviously, if you understand the process aspect, it's just a feeling. You
totally.
express, release, and let go.
And reframe too.
And then, yeah, because then the reframing, I mean, again, when you're like working the negative aspect, you just neutralize the negative from the past if you want. So
Mhm.
in that moment, the negative from the past is not going to be affecting the present and the future.
Imagine like you're like going to sleep, your room is dark, and you see like a dark shadow in the corner, and you're like scared.
You go in the
And you're
cover.
like, I'm not gonna acknowledge that. I'm not gonna
Correct.
acknowledge that. I'm just like gonna sit here being scared and like whatever. But if you get the fuck up out of bed and you walk to the corner and you see like, oh fuck, like this is just whatever, my curtain,
Mhm.
and now you're not scared of this thing anymore.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not affecting you anymore. Fear has been one of the most helpful feelings for me, because every time I felt scared of something, I then knew immediately that I had to do it. I feel like this happened a lot, mostly with my career stuff. Like, whatever, I would get a session to like go work on a commercial or something, and I'd be like, I don't know if I can sing, like, I don't know if I can write a song like that, blah, blah, blah. Every time I felt scared, like I couldn't do something, I would immediately know that I had to go and try to do it. But it
Yeah,
became this thing that was like so useful for me, where like I would be able to kind of figure out what I was supposed to do by asking myself like, am I feeling this way out of fear, or because I actually don't want to do something? If ever I was like scared that like I wasn't good enough, I wasn't confident enough in something, whatever, I would always push myself to do that. It always was beneficial for me.
so the fear, we'll go back to that. I mean, the fear has to be faced because if not, you give the power to the fear. And the
Totally.
only way is like to face it. Now, to face it, obviously, that's when you realize, oh my God, it was not that bad.
And that's where the exponential growth happens.
Exactly. Like for me, it was like really like uh, um, it's surprising too because I mean I wanted to do those podcasts for some time and then I couldn't because the fear and I'm working on it, then suddenly like I mean the switch happened like it's like overnight. Okay, face your fear. on paper until you find your peace of mind. And when from the peace of mind, obviously, then you're going to receive inspiration. And then from inspiration, when you receive the inspiration from the peace of mind, then you're going to act on it.
Because
Exactly.
I wanted to say was like, I remember like whatever when I first started doing the work, I was doing a lot of negative writing, right? So I was
Yeah.
like every day I was doing writing for at least 20 minutes, and I would write about whatever negative thing happened, which was like
Mhm.
like everything was negative. So I was writing just about negative shit constantly. The shit that happened during the day that was negative, the shit that happened last week that was negative, thing that happened 3 years ago that was negative. And it was just negative, 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 negative. And I would get to a place where I released all of the negative emotions, or
Mhm.
and then I would stop writing because I felt good finally. I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, like I did my work and now I'm fine. I would stop writing. And then like a couple weeks later, I'd be like, oh God, I have to like do writing again because I'm feeling like such shit all of a sudden. And then I would do my negative writing, negative, express all my negative. I'd feel good. And then I would stop writing.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the thing that is fucking important is when you feel good, you have to do writing
Do it
too.
right into it.
And that was something that it took me a really long time to learn is, hey, when you feel good, do writing, because then
Exactly.
getting more, it's like a whatever, it's like a constant cycle
Yeah,
almost.
that's exactly. And it's important also to like realize that you feel good or whatever. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like people
Like,
have to like realize as you move forward and you clean up everything. Well, then you still have to ask yourself first, okay, what bothered me? And yes, it might seem like ridiculous, but
ridiculous.
this is what is. That's it. And then I mean, what? I mean, there's more positive in your life. Great. That's the same thing that you were saying at the beginning on the mirror work. I mean,
Right.
a lot of negative. I mean, a little positive. And the more you do it, then blah. And what you're gonna do, right?
And
Because
it doesn't make any sense why that would happen, but it
I
happened.
it's the mind. When you understand the
No, I
mind,
know, but it's kind of like a little bit like, ooh, it's
well,
very
it's
focus
the
pocus.
magic aspect. And you know how many people I
Magic,
tell them
yeah, magic is
that
definitely a
you know
part
how
of it.
many people I tell them to do that again, again, again. And it's like no, they're gonna do it a few times, and it's
Exactly.
not work. It's not working.
No,
Obviously,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
it's like no, it's just the consistency
Yeah,
aspect
yeah,
of
yeah.
it that's really important,
Yeah.
and that's it. All
Yeah.
right, we're good for today.
And it can
And
be called conversations with my unhinged daughter
yeah, yeah, so exactly.
because we're
Anyway,
so cute.
exactly. And I didn't tie my hair today because I want people
Let
to
it out.
I wanted people to realize where you got your curly hair from.
Yeah, exactly. Look at us. We're twins. Bye.